Oh my goodness, I'm much less prepared than I used to be. Well, let's YOLO it. That's what I normally do for these sessions anyway, so yeah, let's just hope for the best, hope for the best. So, hello everybody. I'm Tendo K, and welcome to if the stream is going well for everyone, and just making sure that it's not lagging too much right now. So, welcome to a philosophy session. This has been so long. First of all, okay. Let me restart. Hi everybody. Welcome to the philosophy session. I'm Tendo K. If you guys don't know anything about my channel so far, or you're new to me, or like new to just whatever I do, or if you guys are, even if you guys know exactly what I used to do, is the fact that it's been a really long time since I've done one of these, and the main reason for that is for the past couple of weeks I just wasn't in the philosophical mindset, and I really hope that you guys today are in the philosophical mindset so that we can have an enjoyable conversation together. And yeah, that's the whole point. So, what if you guys are new? What is the philosophy session? And it's okay. I explain this every single time when we start a new session like this. But basically, it's just chatting time where we just instead of like. Normally I make fun of a lot of things, and I normally go all chaotic, and then like try my very best to like not make as little sense as possible. And I'm probably still gonna do that to a certain extent today, but the main purpose of this is to be as calm as I can possibly be for this session, and then make sure to like have a general conversation about a certain philosophical topic. It doesn't necessarily even have to be philosophical, depending on what you mean exactly by philosophy. It can just be about just give people just giving advice to each other, I guess, or like how to deal with certain issues, or like it can pretty much be anything. But the whole point is we take it a little bit more seriously than we do. We still joke around as much as possible, but we are not. We don't. I'm shackling myself to like make sure you guys can this time understand me, because most of my streams you have no reason to understand me, because we don't take anything seriously. And you know what? Keep that mindset still. Now, don't take anything of the conversation that we're about to have too seriously. It depends on how much you want to like relate, or how much you guys want to like take out of the session. It's completely up to you. And also just how much you guys are willing to engage as well. That's also up to you. So this amount of freedom is just the thing that I think I find it special with these kind of sessions, and just the fact that like, instead of like screaming at the top of my lungs every single time, I just get to talk about philosophy with you guys. So yeah. So, today's topic for the philosophy session is about how to run a state. And if you guys know, the reason I continued it is a continuation from my previous streams, like when my other philosophy streams. Like last time was about justifying the state, last time was about legitimacy of power as well. So, it's like a continuation of that, but this time we're gonna look into more of the answers, potential answers, or like that can be given, or like what kind of answers has been like made up, or like thought about in these times. And if you guys know, most of my philosophy session, I don't really like to bring up philosophers very often, because I just think that it's more fun if you guys just make up some ideas right at the top, because like let's face it, philosophers aren't anything special. If you are a philosopher, no offense, but you're nothing special. But yeah, just to like make up some ideas and then discuss your personal views on this matter. But this one is a bit unique, because like I wanted to continue on from that, because I may or may not have done some research about it, but it's okay. Tender K is still as unprepared for these kind of streams as ever, so there's nothing unusual going on. I'm not sick or anything. It just happened. Okay, it just happened. I still don't get how, but it just did. So, what do we say about how to run a state? And let's just start with the basics first, because like the reason why some readings for this is, I don't like to admit this, but some readings for this is kind of a bit more required than other streams that are more opinion based, is the fact that like okay, I'm listening. Thank you for listening. Is the fact that okay, we have to start up with a basic first, so that we can like know exactly how we can start up our conversation. So what you guys are let's just assume that you guys know what state is. If you guys don't know, it's basically just it's hard to explain too, because like it's a collection of society, or a collection of group that listens, or like works together, or listens to another person in order to work together to like create this thing called society. Basically, if there's rules or like laws in it, that's probably a state. But in most people's normal ideas, by the way, E-boy, it's been so long since I've seen you, but basically these days, state is basically a country or a huge, big enough society where people just work together and stuff like that. So the question today we are trying to answer is what different methods are there to like run these kind of states. It can be anything. It can be a country. It can be like just a leadership, like your company boss, for example, or it can just be a cult, I guess. Let's just be risk free and then just stick with countries for today. Okay, so yeah, how to run a state like that, and I'm pretty sure like out of all philosophical questions that we have to answer, or like society has been forced into answering because they have no choice if you want to have at least a semblance of security and ideas, is the fact that this one is particularly more important because, well, it links heavily with politics, and both subjects are incredibly diverse and complicated subjects. But like I said, from my time and time again, it links towards this. It links together very often, but this one probably much more so. And this question has been asked for many, many millennia as to like, okay, yes, we may or may not need a state, and I'm pretty sure we've made a stream about that. If you guys want a brief summary of that, I can do that later. But we may or may not need a state. But if we do need a state, how should we run it? You know? E-boy, it's been so long since I've seen you. I hope you've been okay. Like, I hope you've been fine. Maybe this wasn't the type of session you want to come back to, but like, you have no choice for today. Yeah. So. There was a couple of ideas for this. There's a ton of ideas for it. But before I start listing some of them, and the one that I want to particularly focus on today, yeah, I have. Good, thank you, good job. What about you? Like, what do you guys think? Like, there's one person at the very least who's like talking about today. So how do you think, like, if a state were to happen, what? Okay, you know what? Let's just stick with that question. How would you, run a state? Or like, in what method? What kind of like way should you run a state? I'll wait. I'm trying to practice my patience at the same time anyway. I usually don't need to because, not talking is not very entertaining. But I don't know. Maybe you guys enjoy that. I mean, streaming, like sleeping streams, are getting popular these days as well. I would be so good at those, but nah, never mind. It's like it's a bit hard of a question, but like if you have to just think about a perfect society or a perfect state, or like what kind of method, but also the real hard question. Yes, it is, but it gets even harder when you realize that other people are gonna do the same thing that you will. So think hard about this. So just like if you don't, okay. While you think about a question for that, we also have to like wonder as to like whether we even need a state or not, which I think I made a stream about that last time, but just as a summary, I'm just gonna summarize this for you guys. Basically, there's two schools of thought. It's the fact that like, yes, having a state is good, and no, having a state is bad. Why it's case for both? Well, it's kind of obvious. So if you think about what would happen if there was no state, and then, for example, let's just like everything involved with the state. Wait, before you carry on, hear me out. Yeah, sure, go ahead. Gosh darn it, I wasn't such a momentum. Okay, fine. Here you go. No, you're more like, I can read, I can like read, and then so, I was just like, I'm summarizing why a state might or may not be needed, so that you guys can have some opinions about that, but, Harry, I was on the mood. I was in the zone just now. Come on. Okay, so I'm seeing you in-game many viewers, right? I am not. I'm not. But I'm not. But 2 viewers is excellent. Well, I have an idea. Really? What is it? I mean, is it? is that answering? I mean, I appreciate the fact that you're concerned about my viewership, but like, you're my viewer, right? What you're one eat boy, right? You can promote on TikTok and be like, yes, me cool. Bro, I was like, we had so many talks about whether like getting uncoolified by TikTok was gonna be worth it. I'm still debating about it right now. That can be a whole another philosophy session. Whether becoming enslaved. I'm already enslaved by YouTube and like Twitch. Do I want to get enslaved by TikTok as well? I'm still debating about that. I don't know how the promotion is gonna be work. Like what? Okay, fine. Even okay. Before we continue, okay, we're gonna come back to the question about the state. But okay, let's just assume that I do make a TikTok. Okay, let's just assume that. What would I do? Trust me, it would work. Of course, it's not the point. It's worth it. That's the problem. But okay, let's just assume that it is worth it, and let's just assume that making a TikTok, there's no immoral act involved in it. Okay. What kind of content do you think I should make to promote myself? Okay, after you answer this question, we're immediately gonna go back to the state. Is that cool with you? I have so much to think about. TikTok. Am I seriously that desperate? Am I really that desperate? Your content would be stream highlights of your streams. Oh, fair enough. Okay. I'll keep that in mind. Thank you. Okay, back to the question. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. Okay. But before that, I have to make my second channel for to put my stream content on my YouTube, and then after that, because I'm still trying to figure out how to make the banners and the profile picture again and all that. I will then think about TikTok. Okay. I need to focus on YouTube first, and then I'll focus on Twitch as well, because my Twitch stream is still garbage. So yeah. So where was I? Right, state. Okay, so there's two schools of thought when it comes to whether or not having a state is good and whether or not the state is bad. And you probably thought about this throughout your time when you were living in society as well, which I'm assuming that you guys are. So first of all, for the state is the fact that the state gives you more security, it gives you more protection, and that's just it. If you don't have a state, it gives you more freedom and it gives you more control of your life. Now, as you guys can probably tell already, like these two ideas, just more security over freedom, those two itself are incredibly debatable and subjective, and we will come back to those in the foreseeable future, but depending on if you guys can remind me or not, because my memory stinks. There, I'm hosting you on my channel. Enjoy. Thank you. Thank you, 8boy. You're the best. So, yeah. Jeez. Yeah, so it goes about for viewers. Yeah, that's like the best I can ever get. That's like most views I've ever gotten. What? It's an incredible milestone. But yeah, so not many people are interested in philosophy, are they? But basically, so freedom and security, that's the question that's been asked for a long time, and the state has been just a way for people that wants more security to gain it. And that's when we have to start thinking about the state of nature. Now, the state of nature is basically the whole situation where there is no state. So, okay, before we move on, that's a good conversation topic. So, if anybody wants to listen, what do you think a world without a state would look like? So, just think about it in your head and then just type what you think. So if you guys had to think about what a state would feel like or look like, or if it's even gonna be worth living in, what do you guys think? Now to be more patient. Tick tock. I don't know if it's worth it. Is TikTok worth it? Yeah. And by the way, there's a lot of debates about this. So if you're wrong, you're probably wrong, and if you think you're right, you're still probably wrong. So it's fine. Just any answer will do. Just there's arguments for both sides, and then we're trying to be as open-minded as possible. But I like strong opinions. I like them, so it doesn't really matter. Mm-hmm. Like, is a state worth it? Is a state good? But before we think about that, we need to figure out what a stateless world even looks like. So what do you guys think? What do you guys think a stateless state would? I mean, like a world would look like? Okay, I'm just gonna give you 5 more seconds before you need to reply. For 5, 4, 3, 2, no border for 1. Okay, all right, that's good. That's good. All right, that's excellent. Okay, no border. Okay, now what would so what would happen if there was no borders? And like, let's just assume that like there's not even just no borders, but there's literally everything involved with the state doesn't exist. So there's no laws, there's no borders, there's no government, there's no leaders, possibly. That's debatable. And there's just no authority figure whatsoever. So that's what we are trying to get by when we say there's no state. So if you're gonna focus on countries for now. So what do you guys would think? Do you guys first of all think that's gonna be good or bad? Bro, follow him. He's cool. I'm cool. You can't hit. You're making me blush. You're just making me blush. No extra credit for you just because you're no flower is not gonna no flower is not gonna get you anywhere. No, so you don't think? Damn. Oh, I love his honesty. I love his honesty. It's okay. It's okay. Eat boy, good try. Good try. It's okay. We will get it next time. So yeah. Leaving my followership for now. So what do you guys think? Do you guys think that a stateless world would be better or worse? And if so, why? I'll give you guys 10. I'll give you guys 10, 20 more seconds. Why not? Why not? We have time. Just don't be afraid to be wrong. Just like it's so fine. It's so fine. I don't know the answer to this either. Better. Oh, that's controversial. Not problem. Mission failed. We'll get it next time. Yes. Okay, 8 boy. Good. Alright, so Bewitched Frog, who is refusing to unfollow me, is saying that it'll be better. So you find it better. I'm pretty sure. So, yeah. So if you think that it will be better, well, there's good news and bad news. Is the fact that many people do agree with you, but also many people also disagree with you. So, and there's a good reason for both. And unless Bewitched Frog, do you want to like explain what your position? Okay, why do you think it'll be better? Pressure. If not, no, I just people who disagree with me are dumbos. Yeah, why not? So yeah, why do you think it'll be better? Yeah, alright, I gotta go. See you. Sorry, I'll be here tomorrow. Bye. But I won't be streaming tomorrow. I stream the day after tomorrow. I only stream the day after tomorrow. So if you want to come back, then please do that. Okay. See you. I'm probably gonna play a game then. So just FYI. So people who disagree with me is dumbos. You mean no state violence for one. Oh, that's good. That's yeah. So I think that's the debate about like the legitimacy of the state. So if there is no state, then there's no illegitimate state. So there's so there's no violence by the state. So yeah, that's a good argument actually. Okay, bye boy. Thank you for coming. Thank you so much. Okay, we Bewitched Frog. We're up to this now. Alright, boy. It's up to us now to answer this complex question. Okay, so yeah, so there's the concept of like whether or not the state is even gonna be good in the first place, because what's the point of having a state if it doesn't make your life any better? And yeah, to further up on that, well, it also, like I said about legitimacy, I've made a stream about this, so I'm not gonna go into details, but philosophy student, by the way, that's a mystery. I will not disclose such things. To you guys, I am just an alien species trying to understand you. All right, so keep that relationship a secret. All right. Okay. I'm just trying to be as mysterious as possible. It never works, but you can just you have your opinions about that. I love it when people just make stuff about me and then I just say, oh yeah, that's all true. Yep, that's all true. Keep it up. I can be whatever you want me to be. So yeah. So I've made a stream about legitimacy of the state already, so I'm not gonna go into too much details about that. But most of the time, it's about the argument for whether or not a state can be legitimate aside is mostly about whether or not those state can benefit the individual, and if it doesn't in certain ways and without the permission of it, then it's possible that the state is illegitimate, which is why so many people find dictatorship, for example, illegitimate. Well, and there's some debates about that too, but just they're just throwing it out there. So, in terms of that, consent is one of the main focus when it comes to legitimacy of the state. So if you guys have checked out my previous streams about legitimacy, then you guys have already probably know about how many times I said about legitimacy is also involved with consent. Of course, many other things are involved, but for that you have to talk to the past tense, okay? Because we are not going through that again. So, to sum up, like Bewitched Frog said, there is some arguments to suggest that there's a state of nature is like where there is no state might have been a better way to live than the current one that we do, where we are involved with states. And possibly, maybe there's an argument to suggest that we are still living in the state of nature, but we'll come back to that perhaps later or maybe in another stream. But yeah, so freedom might be more important than a security given by the state, and so that's a good thing. However, let's see, it's great, but how do you style your hair? They're so curly. I do not style it. These things are first of will I'll no I if this is I don't style this. This is bad hair. This is just hair that just been made up, and it's just infecting my eyes right now. Like this, I keep joking about how my eyes are gonna get stabbed out by my hair soon or sooner or later, but at the end of the day, I don't feel like I'm joking anymore. I need to do something about this. I'm probably gonna shave my hair if I get 100 followers, but until then, I'll probably still get normal haircut. So, I'm not saying that I need to get 100 followers to shave my head, but I don't know. It just sounds funny to me because like people overreact when people shave their head, which I don't know why. I just want to, but I just thought, why not unshave? Why? It's still. I always recommend people to at least shave their heads once in their lifetime. Like just shave their heads once. Like you find it surprisingly normal, like seriously normal. And so yeah, we'll talk about my hairstyle in another stream. Like I do just chatting streams a lot. This is just focusing on philosophy, but. To finish this conversation off, so you don't want me to shave my head. You don't want me to shave my head. It's annoying sometimes. It's so annoying. And not to mention that like it's such a good excuse to make a content when I have no ideas. I should just like when I get 100 followers or like reach a milestone, then like why not just shave my head? It's like a birthday present. Or like a present in general. I don't know. I don't get many gifts. Well, not apart from followers and viewership, of course. But apart from that, not many gifts. So this is my crude and weird way to say, yep, this is my present to myself. I shaved my head. Well. There are many people who are trying to prevent me, but I don't know. I still, there's nothing stopping me though. So we'll think about that. You can try to convince me by the end of this stream to not shave my head. If you can. I don't mind. But yeah, so there's arguments to suggest that the state is bad, such as like that. But there's also this argument that, as Bewitched Frog said, that the state is good. However, today we are gonna talk about Hobbes a little bit, and like I said, I don't like to talk about philosophers often, but Hobbes suggests that counter arguments for Bewitched Frog is the fact that the state of nature is just plain awful. Like having no state is just plain just awful. Like it can't get any worse than having no government and having no state. And there's an argument, and it's a pretty good argument to be suggest, but like being in a state might not be fair for everyone if you have seen my legitimacy, and it might not be consented by most people as well. Calvin and Hobbes. You don't know who Hobbes is? You don't have to know the details. It's just basically a famous philosopher who just declared himself that because he's so important that he just he just deemed it worthy that like the state of nature is so bad. So he hates anarchy and he hates and even if there was state, he hates certain parts of the state as well. But at the end of the day, Hobbes, for example, all I'm trying to say is that people like Hobbes suggest that the state of nature is just awful and you should not want it. And as such, the state is required and how you should run it is what we are going to discuss about it. Because to Hobbes, he mentions the idea of a sovereign. Because in the state of nature, he suggests that, no matter how strong you are and no matter how tender K-ish, perfect in every way that I'm just kidding. Just how great that you are. You can easily be killed. And I know it's it's depressing, but let's just hear me out. Since you can no matter how strong you are in the state of nature, and then no matter how much control you have of your own freedom, you will be still living in constant state of fear because you can get killed at any time at any place because where there's in his view, in the state of nature, there's literally no rules and no laws, not even moral laws. So there's nothing stopping anyone from taking other things from other people. So hence, you can be the strongest being on your region. However, if enough weak people rise up against you, you can still die. And also, you need to sleep eventually. So apparently, people can stab you in your sleep and take your stuff away. So at the end of the day, there's always going to be conflict in the state of nature, much more so than Rise Up Gamers. Exactly. That's a very good example. You think I was gonna say that? No, of course not. But yeah, so yeah, things can rise up, and then people will always be in conflict, even between the weak people. Even between those people, there's still gonna be hierarchy, and there's still gonna be inequality, and hence people are just gonna try and take as much things as other people can. And then at the end of the day, no one will ever be able to cooperate with each other because this is getting complex. This is called game theory apparently, but rational beings rationally usually don't there are situations where rational beings such as humans or Plutonians like myself that prevents people from working out when it is the right thing to do. And this is a famous dilemma called the prisoner's dilemma, which is more psychology related than philosophy. However, basically, the prisoner's dilemma is just if you were to if you both were in a crime, if you both commit a crime, your partner and you commit a crime, and then they were interrogated separately, and then the interrogators are suggesting to both of you that if you were to admit your crimes right now, you will get 3 years in jail, and then your partner will get 1 year in jail. Okay. So, but if you both confess at the same time, you both will get two years in jail. However, if you both stay silent, you get 1 year in jail. Both of you will get 1 year in jail. But because normally, in that situation, if you guys understood that situation, basically, in that situation, you are supposed to be, if you trust your partner enough, you are supposed to both stay silent, because if you plus 1 + 1, that's equals to 2. But if you confess and then he confesses, the other partner confesses, then altogether you both get 4 years instead of just 2 years. So in this dilemma, you are technically well off if you both can cooperate with each other and not admit to anything. However, that is assuming that you can actually trust each other. But because rationally speaking, why would you ever trust your partner to stay silent with you? If you don't stay silent, if you stay silent and then your partner snitches, you get 3 years while he goes off 1 year. He goes off 1 year. So at that point, you just may as well just confess to everything, because unless you confess, you will be the worst off, while the other person will be better off than even if he hadn't, confessed. And that's just the one part about game theory. There are plenty of other examples, but this is just the most famous one apparently. But simply put, rational beings tend to not be able to work together. And because they tend to not be able to work together in certain situations where trust is necessary, Hobbes believed that a state of nature would be terrible because, well, no one can ever work together in that case. Of course, there's some debates about that too, but because there are some philosophers out there who definitely suggest that no, people can work together. People suggest, but both of them are just making assumptions that, like in Hobbes' case, for example, state of nature is bad because people can never cooperate. Other philosophers, people can cooperate. People are naturally cooperative beings, so it's fine to be free because that's just how it can be. All right. Are you guys following me at this case? Is everyone following me? Well, what do you guys think about that situation for now? After listening to that, do you guys still believe Hobbes is right, or do you guys think Bewitched Frog is more right? Bewitched Frog is probably still think he's right. I like his dedication to his ideology, to be honest. I'm not educated in this topic at all. So if you guys are, Frog is clearly a better philosopher than Hobbes. Yeah, exactly. all right. That's all right, Mr. Genius. You're fine. You're probably right. I can't. No one. Okay, there's many debatable things in philosophy, but let's just not debate about that because Bewitched Frog is obviously correct. Okay, so give him the benefit of the doubt, people. So yeah. So, but at the very least, Hobbes do make a point that you have to be able to trust your fellow other people if you want to live in a state of nature, which he finds to be impossible. So again, to him, state is necessary. And this is covered in his book, but if you guys want to check out in more detail, it's called The Leviathan, apparently. It's a strange book, but it's called The Leviathan because of what we're going to discuss next, which is about, okay, now we need a state. Let's just assume that for now. Okay, if we don't have a state, then we'll talk about that as well. But if we do have a state, how should it be run? And to Hobbes, if you guys have seen my legitimacy of the, we're going to keep going back to that again. But to Hobbes, just like most people or like many people right now, he believes that consent is what makes a state legitimate, and that's also how a state should be run. Okay, so he believes that the people should consent to rule and consent to a state that in a way that like they're happy to be ruled by a state where they have given permission for them to rule. However, he had pioneered the idea of consent like consensualism, but which is what this school of philosophy is called. But he believes that the consent should not be given to an authority figure. So, for example, he believes that you should not give a permission towards the leader or like the state to govern you. Instead, you should be talking and then like cooperating with your citizens or like fellow people who will be ruled, and then consent with each other to agree upon a possible leader, and then that would become what we call a sovereign. Now, this sovereign can be anything. It can be just one person. It can be a democracy, so it can be a large group of people. It can be a parliament, for example. That's fine as well. It can pretty much be anything. But the important thing is the leader or like the controller or the ruler must come about when those people are consented by the people between one and each other, but not directly being consented from that citizen himself. That makes no sense, but trust me, that's basically what it says. That's like, there's no better way to describe it, I think. I'm just being lazy. But yeah, if you guys do understand what that means, well, that just be a way to like say that, yeah, this is Hobbes' way to say this is the only way for sovereignty to be legitimate. And by the way, in Hobbes' view, he does believe that monarchy is the best way for these kind of sovereigns to come about. He doesn't go into much details about as to why, but We can discuss very briefly as to like the strengths of monarchy, and the fact is that if you guys see in other philosophers, there's a debate about whether dictatorship or like monarchy is better superior than to democracy. To be brief about this, because I'm probably gonna have to like talk about this in a future stream as well, is the fact that in a democracy, yes, it might be nice for everyone to have like their voice heard and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, if those people who gets their voice heard though has no idea what they're talking about, then you may as well just have a dictator, because like at least a dictator knows what they're doing, right? Controversial, I know, but if you like, I'm open to opinions about that too. So you can say that that's one of Hobbes' reasons for why he believes a monarchy might be superior than to like a parliament, for example. But at the end of the day, the strongest point that Hobbes make, or philosophers like Hobbes make, is the fact that this sovereign has absolute power. So it can be a parliament, and it can be a group of people, and it can be a monarchy. But the most important thing is it needs to have an ultimate power, because that is the person who will be, or the being, or whatever it is, that will make sure that everyone falls online, and that everybody in the society is never, going out of their contract or their agreements, and then that this sovereign will have the power to make sure that order is made, and then there's no chaos from like people disagreeing with one another, for example. And because he should have that power, because everybody agreed that he should have that power to rule over them, and then to punish those who don't follow the society standards. And now this is hugely controversial, because he's pretty much saying that if there's a leader, so long as like that leader has been consented by the general public between each other, he's saying that he should totally have full power, like kill, torture, imprison, whatever. He should have the power to do so, and nobody else should. And because like if everybody else had that power, well then it'll be the state of nature, where everybody can inflict one another depending on their choices, rather than what's rationally right for the society and the state. And yeah, that's okay. That's basically Hobbes' idea. Now, as you have heard, Bewitched Frog is probably disagreement about that. So if you Bewitched Frog, if you disagree with this, why do you disagree with this? I mean, there's plenty of reasons. There are plenty of reasons, and I'll touch up on that soon. But I want to hear like someone else's opinion, because it's bad habit to not let them. I don't know. I'm dumb. No, you're not. You're a frog. Frogs are geniuses. No thought. Head empty. No, frogs are geniuses. Croak, croak, croak. But okay. I'll just open some up for you guys then. First of all, it just goes to show that, okay, people may consent to different opinions, but what would happen if those people make the wrong choice and then they regret it in the future? So, like, yeah, people can consent to each other, but people are flawed, and people are, they are not absolutely the people that will make the right decision all the time. If that's the case, how in the world can you ever suggest that those flawed people can give someone or something so much power to something else, when they have no idea as to the consequences, or like not everyone will know the consequences of such actions? And which is the case for like the regretful kind of like dictatorship, I think, because like in history, if you guys have like any knowledge about history, is the fact that like there are times when dictators were initially given full power by the public, but then people would start like at first it would be great for everyone, but eventually like that dictator or like that leadership would pass on to a different leader who becomes corrupt, and then boom, the sovereign's gone, and then like it just all goes to hell from there. The second reason that personally this is the biggest flaw in my opinion is the fact that if people are able to cooperate in such a way, they can assuming that they can cooperate so greatly that they can actually like create a sovereign, and they can actually agree on something as important as giving something else the power to rule over them absolutely, why do we even need a sovereign when people are at that point can agree with everyone else? And then at that point, when I was debating with some other people about it, they just said that, well, it's just flawed, and then and the system is flawed. It's not perfect, but it does the sovereign is just there just in case, where if people stop cooperating with one another, then he's there to make sure they do. But my point was that, yeah, but in order for the sovereign to exist, you need people to cooperate. But if the sovereign is only there for people just in case they don't cooperate, that means that people will never be able to cooperate enough for them to ever make a decision like a sovereign. Does everyone get what I'm saying? If not, don't be, because I'm still questioning this by myself. Am I the weird one for thinking this, or am I right at least on the right track? So that's basically the problem with Hobbes' theory and the idea of consent between the citizens to make a sovereign. Maybe we can say that we don't really need a sovereign, and it can be just for example, normal democracy, for example, where we can just vote for leaders, and then those leaders become right. We'll get to those in the future soon, probably. But basically Hobbes is basically suggesting that democratic people, power, dictators, even dictators and presidents, all those people don't have enough power. They need more power, and how those power would be legitimate is by consent between the people. Those consented people, as I mentioned, might be flawed and might not be enough, especially with the fact that, first of all, in realistic terms, how will we ever get people to discuss with everyone together and then make a sovereign? This is basically very assuming the fact that everyone can come together in one building or one area and then come to an agreement with everyone together to actually make up a sovereign, which it by itself independently requires a huge amount of debate and critical thinking to figure out whether a person will be right to rule. And then for the fact that everyone can be considered at the same time, because in Hobbes' view, your wealth, your education, your race, whatever, or whether or not you're from the complete alien planet, it doesn't matter, because all that matters is you just get the consent. All that matters is people believe that you will be the right to rule, and then if enough people consent to it, then you will be the sovereign. And that begs the question of how many people do you require to agree before their representative can become a sovereign, which is also the case for democracy. It's the same problem with democracy. And I think that kind of summarizes the problems with Hobbes' theory quite basically. It's this fact that in realistic terms, it faces the exact problems with democracy, where the same question is probably going to be asked. If you guys have any problems with democracy right now, I'm just assuming that you are living in a democracy, and if you're not living in a democracy, then you probably have some opinions about this as well. But basically, it doesn't really fix anything in democracy. It just gives more power to the leaders, that's representatives. But it's overall just assumes it needs a lot of requirements before it can take place. And not to mention, even if it can take place, then we might not even need a sovereign at that moment, because, just like what I've said about how it's counterintuitive, because the method for you to get a sovereign itself makes having a sovereign completely obsolete. Is everybody keeping track with this? I'm not sure. Am I explaining this properly? I need some confidence boost. Maybe I'm doing it completely wrong. I don't know. I don't like to like I said, I don't like to reference books, and I don't like to reference philosophers often. I just like to keep it as open-minded as possible, and then just express what I think with you guys, and then you guys express what you think with me. But I thought this was the perfect chance to just have some when there's not enough people to talk about these topics, we might as well just have useless philosophers just taking over my stream, So yeah, but at the end of the day, we do give consent to certain people, and then there's, especially in democracy right now, we do give certain consent. It's not an absolute sovereign power like Hobbes has hoped for, but we do a certain extent. Now, this idea, the reason Hobbes has actually made this idea is quite simple. It's the fact that if there is even a single disagreement upon rational beings in the state of nature, then chances are it will lead to chaos. And it might not be absolutely wrong to suggest that the only way for people to not go into conflict with one another is if there's one person or one being that is actually absolutely right, and everybody agrees that he or she or it is always right. So you can disagree with your fellow citizens, but if the sovereign were to tell you that you are wrong, or if the sovereign were to tell you are right, chances are the sovereign will be correct. Moral rules, laws, whatever it may be. It's because he has legitimized, because they have a legitimacy because of the way he was consented into power, or she, or it, whatever. Is this better than the state of nature? Is this better? Now, it might sound scary, and the sovereign idea is scary because it basically leaves anyone to become a leader if enough people agrees to it. However, we have to also figure out that in the state of nature, you are still controlled. You are still you still have to face certain things that, unlike us when you're facing in a sovereign. It's debatable whether or not we've ever been in state of nature, ever. Maybe society has existed, maybe a state has always existed, where because of human hierarchical system, there's always a leader and there's always people who are ruled. Sorry, it's a bit lagging. But in the state of nature, even if we were in the state of nature, there's certain problems, right? We can kind of agree, right? In the state of nature, just as what Hobbes has suggested, there are people who are out to get what you have because you can never agree with others. However, to further along that line, in the state of nature, you also don't really have control and you don't have any protection. Because even in the state of nature, you're still gonna get hungry, you're still gonna get thirsty, and you still want shelter and all that. And chances are, a state gives you more chances for you to have those things by being able to cooperate with other people who may be able to give you those things in the exchange for whatever you can do for them. Now, is that worth it or is that not worth it? The state violence is definitely exists, and Bewitched Frog makes an excellent point where it's a huge risk where you have to give up your freedom in order to be part of a state, part of any society and group. You have to do that to a certain extent. However, at the same time, is freedom something that's worth giving up for if you know for a fact that your freedom might get you killed? Other people's freedom might get you killed, or take away your precious stuff, or you will not be able to have anything precious to begin with because you can't get other people to help you in those kind of situations. In the state of nature, do you think people can still help one another and you will actually need a state? What do you guys think? Bewitched Frog thinks that's gotta be worth it either way. Do you think that in the state of nature, people can still cooperate with one another? And if not, do you think cooperation is overrated and just we don't even need to cooperate with one another to have a good life? And then we have to start asking what a good life even is, but we'll keep that next time. I don't know. I really don't know. Each other as a community. Yeah, that's actually a suggestion as well. So then we still have to talk about, okay, how do we decide who's gonna do the policing? Hobbes is saying the sovereign would do the policing. Hobbes is saying that the sovereign will decide who polices and who will get policed. So, are you still in the state of nature if there is a police? Are you still in the state of nature at that point? Everyone will take turns. I love your optimism, bro. I love it. That might make sense actually. Everyone take turns and then have their voice heard, but That's isn't that what the state actually do at the same time? Just I mean, not like people like policemen changes every now and then like, hi Khabib, how are you doing? We have 10 minutes left, but we're talking about this how to run the state. So, Bewitched Frog says that the state of nature where people are completely free is like cool, and he thinks that like freedom is like fine. And then like I was explaining that like there's like philosophy where a state might be necessary because like because people want security, and instead of like getting killed, no, police are sent for states. They're not policing for people. Yeah, there's arguments for that. So I guess what Bewitched Frog is kind of saying is the fact that unless you can have a perfect state where they actually work for the people, or like where the government or a sovereign can actually work for the people, then it's totally not worth it. So we might as well just be free to kill each other, and then like be free to like live in the natural world, whatever that may be. Like I don't know. Khabib, what do you think? I'm sorry, I kind of like we don't have enough time to like go through this whole thing again. But what do you think? Do you think having a state is good, or do you think state of nature is better? No. So you don't think having a state is good? Is that what you're trying to say? That's very interesting. Like you guys are such nice friends with one another. you guys can be so good, such good friends. I mean, you can be friends with people who have different ideas though. So yeah, that's fine. Okay. That's why do you think though? Like, do you have a reason? I find myself a bit maybe I'm pressuring you guys a bit too much. Like, oh, do you have a reason for that? Do you have a reason for that? If just it's okay, guys. Don't just be comfortable. No one cares about. There's no right or wrong answer in this case, because it's a seriously tough question, right? It's a serious tough question. The state of nature is much less controversial matter. Actually, not really. Like, so you're saying that the state of nature is better, right? Being in the state of nature is better. So like, being in the state is worse. The state of nature is still controversial because first of all, we have no idea what it exactly means. And so, Bewitched Frog, for example, probably has his own idea of what state of nature is, because he suggests that people will still be able to police themselves in a state of nature. There are people who disagree with him because they find that that's irrational, and some irrational people will not do such a thing. But some people would think that Bewitched Frog is right. So there are state of nature where people are just completely free. So like they don't bother each other, and then there's enough resources for everyone, and then they'll just mind their own businesses. Which again that's controversial because do we have enough resources for people to leave each other alone? And is everybody capable of taking care of their own lives without taking advantage of others and that kind of stuff? So yeah, I don't know. Like, maybe it's not controversial matter. Maybe I'm seeing it in the wrong way. I'm not sure. What do you think? The state is extremely controversial because it does take away freedom, and people, especially these days, do find freedom to be quite important, like just as much as human rights. But should security be worth taking away certain rights for that? Because at the same time, policing, like what Bewitched Frog has said, policing still takes away some freedoms, right? The fact that police brutality, as long as they are getting paid, nobody cares, but we can take advantage from each other. So I can see you're coming from. Yeah, exactly. Police brutality as well. As I said, the main problem with the state right now is the fact that we can never find the perfect state, and it's not the fact that we don't try. We can probably get close, probably, but because there's so much controversy when it comes to what the responsibility of it is a select few though. Yeah, select few. Yeah, I agree. But yeah, even those select few, even those policing are debatable. Some police do the things that you want to, and some people will arrest you for it. Now, they may be following laws, and sometimes you will not agree with the laws. But is it worth it to give away certain freedom? Sometimes you might have to agree with things that you don't agree with to become part of that state. So is that worth it to still be part of that state? When those state itself prevents you from sometimes doing the things that you want? Because like, yeah, police brutality exists, but at the same time, people will say anyone who gets arrested by the police will say that they've been arrested unfairly. And who can blame them? Because they have their own opinion as to what is fair and when a person should get arrested or when a person should face consequences for their actions. Which is a whole nother debate about that though. But basically, at that point, we have to remember that states force people to make choices, and then states will, and you will not be, because of my age, I got arrested for suspicion of carrying a weapon and vandalism multiple times. Oh wow. I I'm sorry for you. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. Carrying a weapon. I'm sorry about that. I'm really sorry. And yeah, that's like I said, imperfect state. So, but at the end of I'm 13. Oh my god, come on, that's so cruel. I mean, and okay, in the very small bright side, at least now you have some like weird like you'll never run out of like conversations topics to like talk about. Like, I know it's a very small upside, but I think it's an upside. Why not? I'm sorry. I hope you're okay. I really do hope you're okay. Don't let that bring you down too much. I'm pretty sure you're fine though. You're too tough. You're way too tough. The reason you got arrested is because like you're just way too tough, man. You're just way too tough. They need to secure you for their own safety. So yeah. But at the same time, in the state of nature, like yeah, in the state of nature, there's still inequality, and there's still just as much as probably in the state. There's still inequality of power, and there's still inequality of like reasoning behind it as well. And people will have more options to have control over what is right or wrong independently, instead of the state. So that itself can be really, really dangerous, just as much as illegitimate state, for example. But that's also debatable as to like what actions are legitimized by states and what actions should be allowed for states to take, such as like arresting people in suspicion of like having weapons. Right, are outdated, maybe, and yeah, maybe. But at the same time, if you want any kind of like agreement with other people, then chances are we still have to keep talking about what counts as rights, and whether or not those things even exist is debatable. However, what many philosophers do suggest is the fact that like the only thing that's preventing humans from like becoming just regular animals is the fact that like rights, like they need rights, and what rights, who gives it to them, and who should be allowed to give it to them, and whether or not having no rights is better than having rights at all. Like in a state of nature where like there's no such thing as rights, whatever it might be, was that better or worse? That will be continually discussed, because we have no idea as to like what's the right choice for both. What is a state of nature? What is a perfect state? How do you run a perfect state? We have no answers for any of these, and if we did have an answer for this, chances are it's the answer itself, just like what Hobbes, just like the counter argument I have suggested for Hobbes. The answers you find in many other philosophers will not be correct, or at least flawed in certain ways. But I never found that okay, the weapon to clarify. Oh yeah, thanks. Yeah, I know. Thank you. So yeah, we're 1 minute in, so we have 1 minute left. So has anybody have any last thing they would like to say before going out? Obviously, it's important to mention that yes, Khabib has never vandalized and has never carried the weapon. So yeah, that's very important. To, like, I will be scared if we didn't like clear that out before the stream ended. Do you guys have anything last thing to say? Like 30 seconds. Come on. It's a very complicated topic. And at the very least, I just have a thought to think about it. But if you guys don't want to, that's completely fine. philosophy can be quite stressful every now and then. Trust me, that's the reason why I didn't do this for a very long time. BH, is everything good with you? Everything good with you? Okay then, if that's the case, then thank you guys so much for watching. I don't do this like too often because like it takes mental capacity, but yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you have not followed yet, then please do so. Or you don't have to. Bewitch has his rights. I can't force anyone. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll stream again the day after tomorrow, probably some games or something. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Take care, everyone. I love you guys, and good night.